Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Genuine Talk with myself and my dear friend Dan Riley. Hi, Dan. How are you?
I am so good. I've been looking forward to this talk for a couple of weeks, however long we've had it planned. Um, so
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm excited. It's such an important topic to me, and we'll talk about this in a moment. But I think that the thematically, um, we kind of wanted to take when you and I catch up to just the spirit of authenticity and just real talk to the stage and kind of share that with people. And so we hope to do that today and create interaction. And so please add comments and ask questions. But yeah, I'm super excited. I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day here in Minneapolis.
Here as well. It's hot though. I was really overwhelmed with the heat today, but still I enjoy summer and I love summer and it adds joy. So this is one of the topics that we will be talking today. And sunshine, summer, I think that's really correlated with joy. That there's something to do with that when we are in the summer mood. So to kick off our conversation, and we wanted to call this the genuine talk because when we are having these casual conversations with them every now and then, we always talk about our own experiences and we're being vulnerable to each other about our stories, the challenges that we are going through. So we wanted to share this with the audience and would like to also hear from you about these and how we can transform the workplace, make it a genuine, authentic place so everyone feels safe about sharing these in the workplace as well. By the way, we have Abdullah from Pakistan.
Yes, I see that. Yeah. Yeah, and those who join as it starts to pick up, please let us know I'm so old fashioned calling in from. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I know. And he's, by the way, he is from so we are working together with the World Happiness Foundation. So
Fantastic.
he's also supporting the cause in Pakistan. So he's an amazing person working on the happiness at the workplace too.
It doesn't surprise me that you have amazing people that you surround yourself with.
Thank you. Thank you. So I would like
Um,
to kick off the conversation with some of the statistics that I shared on my
yeah,
LinkedIn when I was promoting the event. It's really like it's mind blowing when we see the impact of this in the workspace. Because like if we are checking the research from let's say Gallup, they say that 9% of the global GDP. I mean, can you imagine the impact is 9% of the global GDP, and this engagement is that important
yeah.
to our overall GDP, to the global scene, economic scene, especially during this time when we are in the recession, global recession. What do you think about that? By the way, we also have Safir joining in from Canada. He's the
Yes.
founder of the Global Nomad Pass. If anyone's traveling a lot, I would strongly advise that you check it out, the Global Nomad Pass. And he's also he might be coming to Turkey, Alanya, by the way.
Ah, fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
So
be,
if
I,
he manages to do, you'll meet him in person.
that's fantastic. And I'm, next door. I'm in Minnesota, so Canada's just
Yeah.
above me. And for the record, one of my favorite bands, Rush, and so Canada is near and dear to me for many reasons, the music and certainly the band Rush. So I yeah, I mean, so I think it's interesting right now. There is a because of uncertainty globally, from tariffs, wars, you, you know, um, uh, inflation, potentially. I don't want to say it's a recession, but certainly there are elements of it that are around. There is a desire for more spending money more around experiences. So we're seeing this. So people are, especially younger folks, and I guess even beyond younger folks, but There's a focus on spending time, traveling and spending time with creating experiences for families. And so much of this has to do with finding happiness in a world right now that's a little bit scary, right? And a little bit uncertain. So I think this idea of feeling engagement at work and feeling happy at work is the same reason why there's this experience economy starting to grow. You have people wanting to feel safe. It isn't about necessarily buying things or buying a home. And there's a lot of data right now around, at least in the U.S., and I suspect it's probably similar, at least in many parts of the world. But you have homes that are overpriced, but sellers are not budging. You actually have demand, but nobody can afford it because interest rates are too high. So there's this standoff, which it will result in new homes being built and new housing being built. But again, there's this, we're all kind of waiting for interest rates to come down, and we're all not, the market's a little volatile as we know. And so I think this idea of just of safety, feeling engaged, feeling happy in every element of our life, we're all searching for that more than we ever have in the past. So I think that's why we're seeing those numbers so alive and well.
By the way, we have our people coming. Zia from Turkey, Dilara from Turkey. There's someone that I cannot see the name. I'm from Turkey, just here to listen, but surely we'll hit the clap button. And Kelly is from Fargo, and Mark is from North Carolina, and a Rush fan. He's a Rush fan too.
Good. Oh yeah. All right. I'm gonna. Kelly. Of course, I didn't even see. I heard Rush. Yes. So Kelly is she manages a lot of the Disrupt HR programs. And Kelly, thank you for joining. I was honored to speak in the Minneapolis one. That was hard to speak. If anyone knows Disrupt HR, you have to go on stage five minutes, and that's all you have. And anyone who knows
love it.
I like to pontificate. So.
I love it. I'm just now working on an event just like that, a Disruptive one. We will have, and Transform is going to be part of it too. We will even have awards, and everything is going to be disruptive. Whatever we have seen up to now, we will be disrupting it. And that takes me to the question of disruption. So how do you see that unfolding in the workplace? Because like now more people are I think with the new generation too, they're more courageous about holding on to their needs, holding on to their aspirations. They are more passionate about those. Because like when I was growing up, when I started my corporate job, I had to go by the rules. I had to, people would just like tell me, well, this is work. And you have to do this and that. It's just like a checklist. And you would have a mask and that you would put on at work. But now what we're seeing is you have to put your mask off. You have to be like, authentic. So like Mine at work should not be different than Mine at home or like with friends. I mean, I'm not talking about the social context, of course, but like, being transparent and being just like, who you are, just like, from the heart. And that's changing the whole thing at the workplace. I think that's even making people more human. And I think that started with the pandemic too, because like during the pandemic, first people were ashamed of showing their homes, their pets, their children, just like, crashing into the meetings. But then they realized it was like making things softer. It was like reminding each other that we have a life. We are not only like a person coming to work every day, but we have a life. We're real people. I think that kind of like broke something. What do you think about that?
I mean, there's a lot with what you just said, and I think a few things. For sure, the pandemic in so many ways changed how we show up, and sort of we brought our homes to work a little bit. We brought our personal lives a little bit more front and center because we had to, and also because we wanted to. And I think that's also where that sense of of connections started to grow even more. I think it was a scary time, and there was uncertainty, and no one quite knew, as we know, what was going on. And so we looked, and when we checked in with each other, and there were, some people had some terrible experiences and lost family members, and others were like, well, I'm sort of an introvert. I'm happy to work at home. This is great. You had all, but I recognize the heaviness of what we're going through, right? So I think you had a lot of, we all needed to show up differently, but you could almost peel that mask off, like you said, this is who I am. When your cat jumps on the screen, it's not something to be embarrassed. The first question was, oh, what's your cat's name? Where before it's like, oh, I hope nobody saw that, right?
And it's an icebreaker too. It connects people.
Sure.
Even like this question, like people now started like commenting here. We now know that, it was Mark, right? Mark is a Rush fan. And now Mark is even sharing his story. And this is like, it's literally put tears in my eye because like he's talking about his dad. I watched my dad as a Gen Xer. I watched my dad scrimp and save for his golden retirement, but Alzheimer's had different plans, dramatically shaped my attitude toward investing in experiences with my family now. I might regret it later down the road, but I have amazing memories and no regrets. This is beautiful. The only thing that you cannot make up for is time. If time passes, there's nothing you can do about it. All the rest, you can just like make it up.
Yeah, that is a beautiful statement. So, just I will get back to your question, but to get personal here with Mark's question too, and being a fellow Rush fan, and I'm going to try to put this in context where I hope it resonates with everybody. So anyway, if you don't know a little bit about the music, is a big part of my life and a big part of who I am. And I've been a musician all my life. And my dad passed away of Alzheimer's as well. And he was a huge music fan. And I remember that was the one thing that I would play music for him towards the final days. And I remember there wasn't a lot of, anyone who knows this disease, it's terrible, and you get agitated, and it's hard. It's obviously hard for everyone going through it, the person going through it. But music was this magical connection to his soul, and I knew his favorite songs, so I would play them, and he would just be calm, and his eyes would be open, and he would just be listening. And he was a huge Dire Straits fan. I don't know if anyone knows Dire Straits, or he was a huge Beatles fan, and so I would pick Crash Test Dummies. I'm probably picking bands that a lot of people, well, Beatles everybody knows, but and so I would play that music, and so I think there is an important idea of connecting to to music and to art, and I just wanted to, and being that you're a Rush fan, Mark, I appreciate that, because for me 30 years from now, I hope someone plays me a Rush song, Natural Science, preferably. Mark might be the only one who will get that reference. But I think you're right. I mean, time is that time is the same for all of us, right? Like none of us get to speed it up, slow it down. And I think that's a gift that we all have. And so how we use it is really, really important. And that means being at places where we have joy, where happiness is abundant, working on things that we feel like we're making impact, which gets to your idea of disruption and innovation, right? We want to feel like our ideas are contributing to some change, some movement, especially in a world where it's really needed right now, right? And I've gone on record by saying sometimes the best ideas come from the quietest people in the room. And I think it's important for managers and leaders and organizations to recognize that and really, create environments where innovation and disruption happen through dialogue and conversation and and any idea is a good idea. Um, and I think that that helps everyone feel like they're using their time in a more effective and productive way, and and that will help to raise engagement per your earlier point and
And
have.
and some companies, some like managers or like companies think that like because this is a time when we are being challenged with economy, about like you said, like the housing and everything, so that the focus needs to be on productiveness or on results on the work KPIs. But if we see from the research that these people who are more engaged, who are having joy and happiness at their work, they're more productive.
Yeah.
And those companies are performing way better, at least 20% better than all their other competitors. So this is like, because in the old days, we would think that, oh, these are some things that nice to have. But
Yeah.
this is not a nice to have anymore because we have seen it. That everything shows it. And it might not happen overnight, but nothing happens overnight. I mean, this needs some intentionality, this needs some investment. And I'm not only talking about the monetary investment, I'm talking about that, the putting the effort, putting the genuine intention into it. And it might even start with saying, like, or asking genuinely how they're doing
Yeah.
throughout the day.
Yeah. I think that's right. And I think it's also recognizing that and I think we ask that question because we're curious and we care, but we also ask that question to so it's helpful for a team. I mean, for someone to say, look, I'm going through X, Y, or Z, and I got about 50% to give today, right? And now and that's okay. And I verse again, trying to put on that brave face. And there's times we all look, we all need to do our best and put on the bravest face we can. But the best organizations recognize, I mean, people a people first approach, which means if our people need time, if something's going on, we need to take care of them. We need to have benefits that are useful for them. This drives engagement too, that are tailored to sort of a modern world of 2025. And I always typically when I talk about happiness and this stuff that's non-negotiable, like you said, I mean, this is necessary. I do usually start also by saying, but you need to make sure the sharp edges are removed. We can't like, and when I say sharp edges, I mean pay equity, right? If there's whatever your work your hybrid work policy is, if there are sharp edges that just frustrate people, it's hard to get to the joy and happiness. So I always, it's kind of like the foundation of a home, right? You kind of and that needs to be as solid as possible. And if you still have cracks and the plumbing isn't quite right, you got to fix that. And so I always, and I know that's not, it's hard sometimes, but it's, if anyone's working with me, like we're going to make sure like we're looking at that first, because then we can start to really, really make sure we can innovate, we can disrupt, we can bring our best people together, we can celebrate together. But if everyone's feeling those sharp edges, it's hard to feel that joy. So I think that's an important part of this too.
And Mark is also mentioning the layoffs. So and this has been like going on for the last 1 year, especially with the tech industry.
Yeah.
Over the last year and a half. Some companies are managing it really well, by the way. They are like really giving support. They are trying to, even they're posting on LinkedIn. I don't remember the company, but they had like a landing page with the profiles of the people who they laid off. I mean, they of course took their consent if they wanted to be posted on that landing page, but they were just like literally making intentionally helping them. So that's what I mean. I mean, sometimes, yes, you have to take those hard decisions. And like for the business, okay, you're not okay as a feeling, but there are ways how to handle it. I think that's more important than the action, how you are doing it, the way you're dealing with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's look, we've all in our lives, whether it's personal or in the workplace, or you know, have tough things we need to navigate or tough conversations we have. But I can say this: I think consistently speaking, if you are just honest and transparent, and you you're open to sharing how you feel and why you feel a certain way, and you're willing to listen, right, to another perspective, it makes it a lot easier and removes that weight that we can feel. And so, you know, if there's furloughs or downsizing, and obviously during the pandemic, I mean, that happened. That was really tough for so many organizations, and some did it well. You know, some explained this is it was a survival mode reality. Some didn't do it so well, didn't communicate so well. But I think now, I mean, we've definitely seen with the rise of, I don't want to get too much into the rise of AI and job, you know, displacement. I have a lot to say about that. I do think it's important to recognize that you know, we sometimes look at the world of work as it exists now. So it's sort of like all right, so of all the jobs that we do now, AI can replace X and Y. But remember, there's a future that we haven't lived yet. So new things will rise and new jobs will rise, and of course that is making sure you're getting the appropriate uh, skill development, and it might be moving on to other companies where you can get that. It might mean getting that opportunity within your company. But I think too often organizations aren't being as upfront about, well, here's where we're going to start to use AI. Here's our strategy. Here's sort of the tasks that we're going to start to replace. You know, it's a little more chaotic right now, and it's probably because it's happening so fast. It's hard to communicate because some companies.
Still, I think that's the problem. I think you nailed a very important matter. Being transparent is always going to make things better, because like that's the uncertainty is making people even more worried. They're like, more anxious about it. But like when you are being transparent, if even if it's the worst thing that you are going to spell, it's, I mean, they will know that there is no threat.
Yeah.
Because like they will know the company is like, is going to be transparent. They're going to be taking good care of them. Even when the worst thing happens, that they will be, you know, ready for that at least. Because the problem is that they are not never ready for that. Even during the pandemic, the companies and the leaders who were being transparent about it, who kept communicating what's going to be the next move, or like, are there going to be any layoffs? What's the situation with the company? They're the ones that people felt more engaged. So this shows that transparency is something that we really need to exercise in the company to get that engagement, to get that trust. Because if you are not building this relationship on trust, it's going to fall down.
It'll fall down. And what happened are people make up their own storylines when they don't have transparency, and they have just sort of, you know, some facts and some details. People will make up their own storylines, and usually they're not correct, and then you start to believe it, and you start to believe in an untruth, and so it's just a bad. And again, that holds true for any conversation where you're not being transparent. You know, if someone's not getting back to you, a good friend of yours, after 2 months, you make up a story like, oh, this person must not like me anymore. It must be, while there might be a completely another reason. This person's going through a really tough time, and like, and so it's just it's just understanding, I think, the circumstances, the reality, and I think with that, when that's done, fear is reduced, and if fear is reduced, I think we can navigate more difficult challenges. And even some of them, like you said, aren't it's not the best news sometimes, and we're going through a rapid change, and we all know that. But the best thing we can do is be transparent. And sometimes that means saying 3 simple words, and those words are, I don't know, right? I don't know exactly how we're going to be leveraging AI, or I don't know what's going to happen because of a 45% tariff increase, or I don't know, like that's okay too. And then you add on the but we'll figure it out together, and we'll share as much as we know when we know. Now all of a sudden you're creating connection, and you're leading, and you're inviting conversation, right? And I think that does create happiness and joy. But uncertainty with lack of information or misinformation just creates more chaos and doesn't put us in a good spot.
And I love what Mark said. When it comes to AI, making workers feel like they're co-authoring the future of the business rather than being victimized by it, we can have a huge impact. That's real. Because at the moment, victimization, everyone is just like acting from the level of victim.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help. That doesn't help the company. That doesn't help the employee. And so the company needs to show them, well, AI is here to help you. And it's going to be your best friend. It's going to make your life easier. That's why we have AI, not to just lay you off without like telling and replacing you. This is not a replacement. This is like an enabler.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And with that, I'll kind of some thoughts around that, and then I'd love to ask you your opinion on this. I've been talking thematically, thinking about human-centric workplaces and joy and happiness, which is the point of this conversation in the workplace. I've also come to realize, I guess I've always known this, but I think with the rise of AI, we're sort of forced to think about this a little differently, come to realize that humans are meant to be imperfect because we are imperfect, right? And there's beauty in imperfection. And so I think we need to remember that. And the problem is we think about AI as driving productivity gains, right? But I love tech, and I think what AI is doing, especially in medicine, and I think the potential of what it can do is there's so many amazing things about it. It's also, we need guardrails. We need to be careful. AI isn't conscious yet, right? It doesn't really problem solve yet the way humans do. And I think the way humans problem solve is with imperfection. But I think that is what drives conversation, and conversation is what ultimately drives sort of locking arms and going in a belief in something. That might be backed in some science, but also some intuition at the same time. So I think it's really important that we're careful, that we have to be careful and not just say productivity is more important than anything, being faster is more important than anything, because we're going to lose the heart of human decision making. Because I think the sloppiness in conversation sometimes is the beauty of the best conversations. Because I get to ask you, well, what did you mean by that? Or I don't quite understand. Verse, here's a perfect script of what you should say. And we've joked around like that people, if someone is going through a tough relationship, they'll be like, all right, I think I need to end this relationship. They go to their favorite AI tool and say, what should I say? and here's a script.
That's a trend.
Imagine that.
You cannot believe how many people are using it like that. Even with their friends, not not at the moment of breakup, but on a casual conversation. And like my friend created like a replica of her boyfriend, so like there's a continuous history. So the tool knows him. I mean, the tool started knowing him, all the actions, like what kind of a person he is.
Does he travel a lot? So she needs the replica, or was it more just an experiment?
No experiment. I mean, he doesn't know about it, obviously, but like, it's you cannot
Oh,
believe.
okay.
As
Yeah.
she's like saying, I was in a conversation with ChatGPT today, and it said this. I was like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah.
Everyone's, and I love what you're saying. Everyone's going after the perfection, and it's not only this, but like like our bodies, how we look. So everyone started looking the same way. The young people, they look like 10 years older than they are because they want to be that perfect body with this perfect shape, like with no imperfections. But what you said is so true. Those imperfections are making us unique, and
Yeah.
uniqueness is the beauty of being a human.
Yeah, I mean that's never going to change, right? I mean, humanity at its core is imperfect, and I think that is, and again, however you want to, if you want to put a spiritual lens around it, or kind of the soul of being human, or it's just humanity, or is biology and science. However you want to think about it, it doesn't matter. And then they're all and they're all a fair way to think about being human. But what we can all agree on is being human. You yeah, and there is a beauty in imperfection, and I think there is no perfection because there is no absolute truth, or there is no stumbling through something is sometimes the best way to
Mm,
move forward, because that's all we can.
exactly. What is perfect? What is the definition of
Yeah, I
perfect?
mean, it's such a relative term. I always have a hard time with the word perfect, because I guess if you're playing a game and you can get 10 out of 10, that's a perfect score. But when it comes to the humanity, I think
And
perfection.
life. And
Yeah,
life
life,
doesn't
yeah.
work like that. It's not a mathematical
Well,
equation.
and I think that's important. In our final days, I don't think at that moment we're going to be thinking about, well, boy, was I more productive at work because I had Chat GPT 550, right? I don't think that's going to be your final thought. Your final thought are going to be the people that you surrounded
Mm.
yourself with.
And what kind of an impact you
And
left
what kind
on
of
them.
impact you left, and back to the concept of time. And if you didn't use your time as wisely, and you didn't take time for yourself and your loved ones and your family and your friends and your partner, um, you know that you'll think about that. And so I always urge everybody to remember, uh, again, because that's what you take with you. It's the human connections. It's not the stuff you have. It's not the and yes, I think the work that you do, especially if it's bettering humanity, I mean, you can be proud of that. But at the end of the day, I truly believe it's the people and the ones that you love, and the people and your friends that are around you that truly are in your final thoughts. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's great.
So,
Um,
as we are running a bit over time, let's wrap up the conversation with a practical tip that our audience can take back to work about joy, happiness, purpose. What would be that tip?
I mean, so yeah. Well, first of all, um, thanks. I thank you, Ina. I love our conversations and our friendship, and it's an honor having this conversation with you, and looking forward to see you at Nomad Fest
In Alanya.
and
Oh,
Alanya.
let me also put that in the chat so people,
Yes,
if you want to join us, meet us in person and have more of this talk in person about joy, work, entrepreneurship, how to be a solopreneur, and enjoy the beautiful weather in Alanya, you can come, register and come to Alanya for the Nomad Fest.
It's super, yeah, super cool. It's just everyone, least if you can't, man, I know it's a haul for a lot of you who might not be in local, but at least check it out, read what it's about. I love it. I think it's just the concept and the conversations are so authentic and real and human and so it's definitely going to be a beautiful event. So I want to say that. Thank you to the community and everyone chatting and all the great questions and those listening and clapping I think practical. I guess I'm going to go back to kind of two words that have been on my mind recently. Number one is curiosity. I think it's really important that we continue to be curious about each other, about ourselves, and about the changes that are happening around us in the workplace. And I think curiosity is something actually that AI doesn't really have yet. It's a very human trait. And curiosity drives conversation. Curiosity drives listening. Curiosity drives I think innovation. It drives disruption, and I think it also drives authenticity about who you are because you're curious enough to care, and you're curious enough to self-reflect. So you can really apply curiosity to so many elements and aspects of being human. So I challenge us all to continue to be curious. But not just for yourself, be curious about others and go out of your way to if I had one ask for everyone listening, reach out to somebody who's a part of your life and check in on them, see how they're doing, and be curious about if they're working on something or maybe they're building a house or maybe it's a new job or who knows what it might be. Yeah, check in on them if you haven't in a while. And that's being curious. And I think that's being human at its best, and it's showing up for each other. So that would be my I know it's not specific
I love it.
to work, but I think it is at the same time because being human in the best way possible is going to make work better.
Yeah. And we have mutual feelings about how I enjoy doing this with you. By the way, sorry for all the action happening behind me.
Well,
I
like
think
we
there
started before, it's this is the way we.
this is life because
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting this. I think they're getting the place prepped for an evening event. And yeah, I mean, I love doing this with you, and I'm so grateful to have you in my life. And I am so much looking forward to having these talks more because these are like untold stories, and I want to hear more of these untold stories at work. Like how a small thing like genuinely being curious about how that person is feeling or how their family is doing, or was it hard when they were moving from one house to the other, and just
Yeah.
because that shows really that you really care about those people. It's not what they do at work or how how you can benefit from them or their skills or their capabilities, but you care about them as a person, as a human. So
Yes.
it's like I really love what you said, and I really would like to hear more of these tips and how we can really transform the workplaces to be like these safe places where people thrive.
Yes. Yes, and I think it's having more and more conversations like this, and so again, thank you, thanks to
Thank you.
everybody, and yeah, we'll do another one. That's a guarantee. And
Yeah.
come join us.
And for the in-person one, please come and join
Yes,
us in Turkey, in Alanya. Who is also going to be there. She's
oh,
running a co-working space in Bodrum, and she's going to be joining us at the event to talk about how to start a co-working space, co-living and co-working space
love
as
it.
not like as a local entity, not like a big chain, but being like a standalone local entity.
I love that.
Okay, so thank you, everyone. It
Right.
was really great to have you, Dan. I'm so much looking forward to it. Enjoy your day, enjoy your evening. wherever you are around the world, and take good care of yourself.
Thank you. Thanks everybody. Thanks, Mina.